Alright, here we are. We are set up in a two-man queue, waiting for a standard matchup. See how Koth drops performs. And we'll see if anyone will take the bait. Another possibility, if they get up to 3 players here, is we could jump into one of those Mirren or Phyrexia queues. Potentially get 2 games if we win. But right now, that wouldn't be firing either. Maybe if we jump into the Mirren one. Quickly. Oh, dang. Of course. Too slow. Alright, well, instead we will join this one with Koth drops. And maybe that will be incentive enough for someone to add. There we go. Alright. With any red deck wins, playing first is almost always what you want to do. And we have a whole lot of things except for land, so I guess we have to mulligan. This, not a great start, but keepable. Especially when it would be a mulligan to 5 at this point. If they drop anything, we can Searing Blaze it. Give Arc Trail a little amount of time for us to possibly 2 for 1. And Pedro P. Are you going to mulligan? Are you there, Pedro? Nothing worse than dead air in a video, and that's what you get when you have an opponent who doesn't start right on time. Okay, I'm just going to pause it and I'll be back when he shows up. Alright, the opponent's back. He did not mulligan. And I'm not going to mulligan here. We will take our chances with 2 mountains. The last couple times I've played this deck. That actually is about the best thing I could hope for in this case. Because he may give me the land that I couldn't get on my own. Instead, he tells me that I'm going to get a second Koth, which I can't cast. Lovely. Get used to disappointment. Okay, well, in that case, I can't use either of those to kill at instant speed, so I'm just going to burn him. And by that I mean I can't use the 3 damage. Yes, I could cast it as an instant, but... Well... It looks like I'm going to get my land anyway. And how exciting, a land that I can set off on his turn. And we can decide whether we want to Stagger Shock him or whether we want to Searing Blaze him. We will see what he does with his turn. Definitely want to wait for him to attack. Always want to get that potentially extra land. And we did get one, which is great. I'm kind of feeling the Stagger Shock in this instance. Because that way if he plays something, we kill it when it comes to his turn. He has no way of sacking this, so we will get double duty out of it. I always hate when I target like an Ember Hauler, he sacks it, and then you lose the rebound. And having 2 Koths is a nice problem to have now, because he probably will Empty the medicine cabinet, shooting down our big guy. And if he does that, we just bring out another one. Okay. So he is more of a goblin-based deck. Than me. But we have answers. And actually, in this case, I probably will go Koth into an untap to burn the chieftain. And again, it may mean that he has to unload his hand to deal with my threat, or he might have another frickin' chieftain. Of course. Why not? But at this point, what Koth is doing most admirably is keeping my life total a little bit higher. So bringing out the old teetering peaks. I don't really have to use that Searing Blaze at this point to get the 3 that we want. And now he has card advantage. We have life advantage. I do have 5, 6. So I don't have to use my lightning bolt on my turn, because if I draw either, well, 2 basic options, burst lightning or red sun zenith, either way, I would have enough direct damage to the head and enough mana to do it. And instead I get the Searing Blaze, which doesn't do me a whole lot of good at this moment. Might end up using it to kill the Spike Shot Elder. And that would get him down to 6. Get him a little bit closer. Well, we'll wait and see. He may have a surprise, or he may just have that as an option. Okay, now before he battle cries and is able to use that, let's burn him. Force him to decide whether he's going to use his ability. At this point, I would rather take 2 and hold in my hand a possible shot at victory. And that's not going to get me there. Not quite. That's kind of a tough play. If he attacks, we would get to 2, 3. I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see what he gets to. And then if I need to... Okay, before he gets that, I'm gonna have to bolt it. It's not really what I wanted to do, but we can't let him get to 3. And I'm assuming he attacks. Should block the Ember Hauler. And sack to kill the war driver. And now we're both at 6. He has card advantage. Although who knows what that card is. And we'll have to wait and see. This one really is going to come down to the wire on who will have the answer we need. Okay, so he triggers Arc Trail, which means I trigger this to kill his Ember Hauler, which means he triggers that to shoot me. And I'm down to 2, and if he has an answer, basically any burn spell he draws, it's game over for me. And the turn, really the difference between being at 2 and 1 is not a huge difference. He probably doesn't have something that would deal just 1 damage to me. I now have at least someone to attack with, and if he doesn't draw an answer, I might be able to get in a couple damage. Well, here goes. He either, if he had a way to kill him, he would have killed me. Oh, and he gives us the ridiculous. Good. Always love to beat a good sport. So let's go in against red deck wins. What is our, well, more specifically against goblins. I think the ratchet bombs would give us a way to deal with some of his high density, and they're pretty low on the totem pole, but high density casting costs. I think the Manic Vandals are not getting us a lot in this matchup, and the Cunning Spark Mages would do more so. And I guess we can't do quite all of those, so let's go down, let's do that, one Cunning Spark Mage, okay, we'll see. Against the mirror match, it's always kind of a hard sideboard because I'm really not built for it, and really the deck itself is built for a great matchup with itself, because you're burning their options and they're burning your options, and it's just who draws more. Yeah, did he run out of luck drawing 3 lands? Yes, he did. Did I run out of luck only having 1 land in my opening hand, mulliganing? Yeah. And the whole game it was pretty close, so I don't know what he's complaining about. I guess he's complaining because he lost. So maybe he's gonna make me wait again. Is that the way that Pedro P likes to play? I will not be voting for Pedro, that is for sure. Come on, buddy, any day now. While I do have all day, I don't want to spend all day. You just wonder what he's doing. Because he was right there. Is he playing another game? Maybe that one he's winning. Here we go. Okay, that is a great opening hand. 3 land. 1, 2, 3 drop. Would I like to mulligan? No, I do not. He, of course, is playing first, so his guide will get in, if he has a guide. but he might let me draw a card. I might let him draw a card. Again, it's the same thing we had last time. And instead, he probably has some burn. So my goblin guide is not long of this earth, if I had to take a guess. Let's just hope he has to use a lightning bolt instead of a burst lightning. I'm big on overkill, and it's huge in red deck wins. Because if you are overkilling on creatures, then that is lost damage that you can't be dealing to your opponent. Good, he didn't draw a card because of it. I know that he has a chieftain on the way, and he has used up one of his burn spells. Just kind of waiting at this point. And the next play will be an interesting one, depending on what he puts down. If he puts down an Ember Hauler, probably going to Searing Blaze him. War Driver, that's a little trickier. In this case, I think I'll Scalding Tarn and wait, because Goblin Chieftain is probably on his way next. He'll attack in, I can kill the Chieftain, he'll deal 2. But that way when I put out my Ember Hauler, I will not have the threat of losing him without the sack outlet, which is kind of important to me. Okay, so he's going to go that route instead. Play that. And I think I still Searing Blaze him. Mostly because now he's dealing 4. And 4 is a whole lot more than 2. It's double, in fact. Put up the Ember Hauler. And see what he does. Could be time for a Chieftain. Then with the Chieftain, I have to decide how I want to deal with it. At this point, I almost want to utilize my mana. Just burn him. Force him to sack to damage me, I suppose. And that's not a bad draw at all. I could edge and then burst lightning. Advantage here is I'm kind of thinking I want to keep him away from 4 in case he has a Koth. And I know that I have a 4th in my hand and no Koth to come, but alright. So be it. So that would be the advantage of having some artifact hate at this point in time. But you know what? A Ratchet Bomb also can kill tokens. That's just what it's gonna do. Burn you, burn you. Bring out your token. Say bye-bye. And is he ever gonna bring out that Chieftain? There we go. Nice thing about the stagger shock is I can wait and see if it presents another threat. And I want to stagger shock its head. Get the guide in there. Know that he has a burst lightning coming up. And at this point, where our damage totals are, the burst lightning may be more dangerous as a 4-shot to me than as a damage to my creatures, which is why well, I mean, obviously Dark Trail in that case, but it will be interesting to see if I get a creature out, whether that draws the burst lightning or whether he is thinking knock me down to 7. And we're kind of in that same place again. He's at 13, I'm at 11. I have a burst lightning, we know he has a burst lightning. He probably has something else. I'm about ready to draw a card. Very evenly matched decks. Tuk was an interesting choice, interesting card to have in there. I definitely got the Ratchet Bomb at the right time for that situation. And that's why you have a sideboard. My thought was not to deal with tokens. I mean, that's why it's in there. It's in there to deal with Wormcoil Engine tokens, and I mean a great deal more than that. Obviously Firewalkers and some of these speed decks have a lot invested at any one point in the mana curve, any one casting cost. And Pedro's taking his sweet time once again. I'm a little disappointed that it had to be not a straight mirror match. I mean, Goblins and a more burn-centric deck are not exactly the same thing, but still, I'm a little disappointed that we couldn't see this against another deck. And we wait and wait. I'll just give him the friendly you there. There we go. And a teetering peak, okay. Advantages, disadvantages. Playing it gets me to where I can burst lightning for 4. Not playing it means I can possibly use it on a creature. However, I don't have any creatures in hand. I would rather have 4, or rather 5, available so that if he Koths, I can kill. And I may not get that choice, or that chance. Okay, so we have to burst lightning. But then the fun thing is that he pretty much has to kill the Spark Mage with his burst lightning, unless he draws another option. And he gets a Goblin Guide. So now he's ahead on the count. I have a Syrian Blaze coming up, which is not going to help me a ton. If he draws one more land, his burst lightning is lethal. So sure enough, here comes the death blow. And we go to game 3. What did I see, if anything, that changes my mind? Probably not playing a Manic Vandal for the one danger there. Cunning Spark Mages. Keeping a couple. Because he does have his Spike Shot Elders. Yes, I want to play first. Oh, I hate that. Have to mulligan. Not mulligan into the hand I necessarily wanted. Although if he Goblin Guides, gives me a land, and then I burn him, I'm kind of back up to where I wanted to be in the first place. Unfortunately, he doesn't give me a land. And here I'm going to go Ratchet Bomb. Let's see what he brings to the table. I don't really want to put out the Ember Hauler because I want to have sack mana available before I do that. Here's the Bushwhacker. Somewhat wasted in my opinion. I mean, yes, he got 2 in. I suppose that's good. I need to, or get 2. Goblin Guide in return. So tuck on the way. And my Ratchet Bomb does have a counter on it, so that's not an answer to his token. Which is unfortunate. Let's see. Any sort of answer? No. So now it becomes a little bit more of a strategy. He just got his 3rd land, which we definitely didn't want. The advantage of Tuck is if it goes to the graveyard, so I could Red Sun Zenith it. That way it doesn't go to the graveyard, and I don't have to worry about the disadvantage of that situation. And in that case, I may Ratchet Bomb out the whole lot of them. Okay, so I could clear them. A 2 for 2. Not really advantageous at this point in time. You'd be better off just killing Tuck and attacking with 2/2s against 2/1/1s, who I could then kill afterwards. So let's burn him. Attack. See what we can get in for. There's a guide of his own on the way. Got a double block. And for me, I probably would rather sack him for damage. I could burn one. No. I'll sack him for damage. See if he will put out his Goblin Guide, and then we can just ratchet bomb everyone. If not, I have the life advantage at this point. We can see what he chooses to do if we attack with that Goblin Guide. Right now, neither of those are real big threats, so... if we attack in, and get him to 10, and potentially if I had a mountain, or a land of some kind. Okay, now out comes the chieftain, which means I have to burn him at the very minimum. At this point, take care of that too. Good news is that's going to come at a time when he doesn't have sack mana, but he does have a Goblin Guide and a Spike Shot, which will be coming out on the attack. I'll have a Searing Blaze, hopefully with well, if he Goblin Guides, maybe I draw into a land. That would be the best case scenario. Although that's not a bad scenario for me. So wait and see if he will threaten in some way. He apparently is not happy with what he is drawing. Hey, can't always get you what you want. If I Stagger Shocked to the dome and then rebounded plus the Searing Blaze, we could be talking about lethal, but it just depends on what he puts out for threats. Right now he thinks he's attacking for 7. Instead, he is attacking for 3. If I had killed the chieftain beforehand, I could have saved myself a life. An Ember Hauler on the way, so at least I know what's coming out next. And with that in mind, I think I'm gonna shoot it to the head. So I have Ember Hauler, which I could block and then sack, or do some sort of combination of. Worst case scenario, he has another chieftain and I have to use that to burn him, just to stay alive. Again, best case scenario, that goblin guide lends me a land. But we will have to see. Alright. So now, it's simply a matter of surviving. If I can get to next turn. And if I can get there. He doesn't have enough that he could kill the goblin guide. Could potentially burn it himself, but I believe Searing Blaze still deals the damage. Even if the guy is not there. And Lightning Bolt for good measure. Just in case he throws some... Oh, obviously ridiculously lucky. Bolt in hand 2. What this guy doesn't understand about the game is if you play with the Goblin Guide, there's a downside. It's called drawing land, and that's the reason that my Searing Blaze was able to go off. I wouldn't even have drawn the bolt if that hadn't, but some people can only see, oh, you're lucky. Well, no, maybe it's because you're playing with something that gives someone an extra little chance. Okay, so now he's going to waste time, refuse to quit. I don't know. Whatever he's doing, I say the video's done. Thanks for watching.